recording. I am James Edwards, coming at you out of fucking Brockport, New York. This is Jamie Duvall.
Nashville, Tennessee.
And this is Common Sense because nobody else fucking had it. So, yeah, last night, dude, in fucking Rochester, I guess, I looked at the official police report from it earlier, and they were talking about how it had been peaceful from the start, in which I saw a bunch of people's live videos on it, and it looked totally peaceful, you know, people just out in the streets protesting.
They tend to start that way.
Yeah, apparently it ended 3 Rochester police officers being injured. 11 people were arrested. They claim that people were throwing fireworks at the police officers like they claimed in every other fucking city, which I saw fireworks going off in the video. I didn't see any being thrown at the police officer, but I seen fireworks going off, you know, definitely.
Well, it could be somewhere where they weren't recording too. You know, but there should be body cam footage of that.
Yeah, they were mortars and shit, but they weren't. I didn't see them throwing them at the cops. From what I've seen, I read somebody's post about he was a white dude. He was talking about how, you know, he saw how white privilege was real the other night because he fucking went to go help some lady out and wasn't doing anything. The cops were trying to arrest her and they threw him in cuffs, and then like realized who they threw in cuffs and kind of just like moved on from him and started fucking arresting everybody else.
So you're saying the guy who tried to help was a white guy?
Yeah, he tried to help.
And they cuffed him and then let him go?
Yeah, basically just moved on. Realized they got a white guy and just like moved on and started arresting everybody.
Well, you can't say that. I mean, how many other people, white, black, Hispanic, whoever, did they maybe do that too?
Oh, that was his view on it. I mean,
right.
It was for his post, but
well, the world doesn't revolve around one guy, so.
Yeah, I saw a whole bunch, but what I have seen is the consensus has been from like 5 or 6 different people that are there. It was a peaceful protest, and the Rochester police fucking Mirandaized. I probably didn't fucking say that right, but whatever. They gave everyone their Miranda rights over a loudspeaker. Just fucking the whole crowd gave them all the Miranda rights, right? You know what I mean?
Is that even legal?
You know, I can look it up, but
I mean, is that how that gets done?
For a whole crowd? I mean, obviously every person has to receive their Miranda rights, or the case gets thrown out the window. That's constitutional.
Is that still a thing? I know that was a thing. Yeah, filming live from the car.
I see a thing here. It talks about the Miranda warning. So I believe they can just fucking give that to a mass group of people like that and just start arresting people that aren't obeying the law.
Well, I mean, I suppose if there's 50 people. Yeah.
Dude, there was way more than fucking 50 people there.
So if all these people got arrested,
videos, dude, there was hundreds and hundreds. There's probably fucking 1,000 people there.
So when did this turn from a peaceful protest into a situation where people are being read Miranda rights over a megaphone? That doesn't sound like a peaceful protest.
I talked to about it. She told me that they were marching through the city. The cops had riot shields the whole time, marching, you know, alongside them, making sure things weren't getting unruly, shops weren't getting fucking busted up. Shit wasn't getting lit on fire, you know. So they had their shields out the whole time, which they said in the report I read said, you know, they didn't pull their shields out until later, blah, blah, blah. So following the march, they end up marching on City Hall, you know, protest outside City Hall for a while. And then I guess as soon as they left City Hall, the police put over the loudspeaker that it was fucking, they had to clear out, you know, their protest was illegal, and read everyone their Miranda rights over the loudspeaker. And I don't know. I guess not long. I don't know. I was watching like 10:30 last night, and 11 o'clock maybe, and that's when they started shooting fucking tear gas and rubber bullets.
Mm.
People at the front of the crowd had fucking umbrellas to shoot back the popper bullets, and they were using leaf blowers to shoot back the
So
tear
they
gas.
came
and
prepared.
shit. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't.
Sounds
really
like they were
explain.
half expecting it, like almost as
Well,
if. I
yeah,
mean,
'cause-
there are. I'm convinced, even maybe up there in Rochester. I don't know much about these particular riots, even though I was born there. But I know that in a lot of these other places, these are paid agitators that are going into these places.
So, from what I seen last night, are all people I know. I'm waiting for my cousin to get back to me. He was up there. Two of the people I went to high school with, I was watching them live. Talked to one of them about it this morning. And yeah, I didn't see any evidence of paid agitators. I saw pissed off people at the police and local government protesting and doing their thing out in the 585 and fucking.
I'm with you. The vast majority of there aren't there to loot and burn down stores. They're there for a righteous cause. But I'm convinced, because every time, like you said, these protests always start out peaceful. They're always peaceful protests, and then somehow they always turn violent every time. And the one side blames the police blame the other side. There's no accountability. There's all these 2-3 minute long videos of a 4-hour affair that doesn't show everything, and it leads to
yeah, for sure.
so
sure.
I mean, yeah, and you never really know the extent, because there could have been 15 minutes of violence and that was it, but that's the only video being shared.
Well, I mean, from what I've seen, dude, I was downtown the day after the fucking George Floyd riots, and I was working with some of the people that went to the riots and shit. And there were people that they went out to steal shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They went out, they fucking robbed liquor stores, and people had bottles on bottles on bottles. Facebook Marketplace, dude, I fucking looked on there the next day for TVs. I was like, why not? I guarantee you there's going to be a bunch of them on there. Sure as shit, dude. Facebook Marketplace is full of fucking TVs and electronics. Fucking, they were out stealing shit. But
brand new, still in the box.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, I think I did see a TV on there. It was like, brand fucking new TV still in the box. And there's a lot of shit set on fire. They're setting cop cars on fire and
in
shit
Rochester?
over in Rochester after George Floyd. But this particular event happened before George Floyd, but the video's just coming out now about it. I think it's happened in March.
Talking about Daniel Prude?
Yeah, this happened in March, and I think the video coming out now after the George Floyd thing, after Kenosha, after Portland, after Seattle, I think all of that, and then the video coming out now is just and it's being so close to home. These people are pissed. They're not out stealing shit. I mean, I'm sure you always got a few douchebags that
they're there strictly to take advantage.
They're taking advantage. They're out just doing the wrong thing. But the majority of people were just fucking pissed off, and I don't really blame them. I mean, Mayor Lovely Warren right now is being investigated for
what?
An illegal super PAC from her last election. It's like a 3-year investigation. She was
campaign finance law or something.
Yeah, campaign finance law. She was blocking her opponents, allegedly blocking her opponents from receiving contributions and fucking an illegal PAC. And she's been investigated for 3 years, and she quotes it as, get this, she quotes it as a witch hunt. A political witch hunt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wonder where she heard that,
So those are real, is what you're saying?
Apparently, they're only real if it's specific to someone who's done shit illegal in government.
Right-wing conspiracy. Remember Hillary Clinton back in the 90s?
Yeah, so Mayor Lovely Warren said it's a political witch hunt, and it's ridiculous. Apparently, they have a ton of evidence on her from what I was reading.
She's been the mayor up there for a long time, ain't she?
Yeah, she's running again. I think she's up. I think it's this year.
She's
This
running
year, this year or next year.
amid all this crazy stuff, all these accusations.
Well, yeah, it just goes to show that corruption in government goes right down to cities like Rochester. Rochester's been dead for fucking years, man. But like, there's still all this political corruption. Just goes right down to the fucking mayor.
Sorry about this. Flying on the fly
from
here.
Their campaign contributions, so she can.
Like,
just
how do you even do that, right? Like, what are the steps? Like, how do you stop somebody from receiving money from a donor?
I think she just made laws about it.
Made it harder for them to receive them.
Yeah. There's a whole thing on it.
A mayor doesn't make law.
Yeah, I read.
Give me 1 second, James. I gotta set this thing up. It's falling apart on me. Sorry, man.
Fucking, you're good, dude. Fucking New York apparently. Look at the mayor of Rochester, the mayor of New York City, dude. Look how much power the mayor of New York City has.
Isn't it just ridiculous, man?
They run. Well, if you think about it, dude, New York City, they've run one of the top fucking, at least top 5 major cities in the United States.
I mean, it's got to be top 5, if not even higher than that.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't want to say
it's a huge
top 3.
city.
That sounds kind of high because you got a lot of other cities that are huge.
I think it's honestly, I may be wrong about this, but I believe New York City is the 10th largest economy in the world.
I don't know. I'd fucking have to look it up, but it's definitely up there. That guy holds so much power. De Blasio.
See, what we did here in Tennessee, how it's different from up there is here the governor. When all this emergency stuff was declared, the governor is the one who got all this power. You know, and like if you read, I think it's called Title 58 here, and it gives the governor insane power. Like power you wouldn't imagine could be in the United States for one person, especially a state governor to hold. Blew my mind. But he didn't even use it. He delegated it to each county mayor, each county, you know, whatever authorities there may be. But in some counties down here, you've got where the people are treating it right. They're not passing mandates like they are up there with all this stuff. Right. You know, they don't have that kind of power.
Cuomo, dude. Cuomo, man. I fucking went to Barber's the other day to get a Balboa. And I pulled up and they're like, oh, it's going to be like another 15, 20 minutes. So I was like, all right, well, I'll grab a beer. Well, I'm here, you know, let's go outside and have a beer and wait. And they were like, oh, you can't have a beer. I was like, what do you mean I can't have a beer? And they're like,
you gotta buy food, right?
Yeah, you got to order food and eat it here.
How?
And I was like, all right, well, let me get like a bag of chips or something. And they were like, oh, we don't have nothing like that. They're like, we got tater tots, but by the time they're done, it'll be pointless, you know, to have even like, really?
He's throttling business.
I went to another bar. I'm not going to mention the bar, but I went to another bar the other day, and they asked me if I wanted a normal menu or a Cuomo menu.
Cuomo menu.
Yeah, dude, they had dollar grilled cheeses on there.
Oh man, that guy.
And then I sat there the whole time with the Cuomo menu in front of me, drank like a fucking 6-pack and a shot, and I just left. I didn't fucking eat nothing. Fuck you.
I watched Cuomo at the DNC, bro. And this guy's whole fucking speech was just it was so cringeworthy. He kept calling the Wuhan China virus the coronavirus. He kept referring to it as the European virus, and he blames Donald Trump for the whole thing. And I'm like, I don't understand. You were the one who was you're the one who sent old people with COVID-19 to nursing homes to die, to spread it. You know, you're the one who did all this. I mean, here in Tennessee, our case count is much lower. We have Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, plenty of big cities. Okay. And our count is much lower. And we did not nearly shut down. We shut down statewide for like 2 weeks. Then the governor was like, this is pointless. Get back to work.
Fucking insane. The only shutdown I've seen or heard about that's been even crazier than this is fucking LA. The governor of LA actually said that he could shut down water and electric for
tyrant.
private residences if they weren't obeying the fucking law about, you know, being in groups. You know,
Well,
he said
I don't know how it works in
will shut
LA.
down the water and the power to the residents or the business, and then that'll be it. But Cuomo, back to what you said about the whole old people thing. He's actually being investigated for that. They're trying to press charges on him.
Who's investigating him?
Fucking, I would
Is
imagine
it
it's
state
federal
authorities, FBI? Is it Fed? What's going on?
It would be let me look it up.
Because
It
that's
was,
important to know. I mean, if I'm sorry, but if that one attorney general or whatever DA up there in New York that keeps slapping bullshit charges on Trump, if she's the one investigating him, then it's null and void already. I mean, it's incestuous. They're all together in this. There's no accountability. You know, I mean, it's not just Democrats, it's Republicans too. I'm saying in government in general, there's no accountability. So but I mean, he should be facing charges for that. I mean, that's
this is
something
from
that
August 10th.
August 10th, quite recent.
Yeah, it's from Fox, but I've been seeing other articles about this too. Claiming that the deaths. So Cuomo is insisting that the thousands of nursing home deaths had nothing to do with his March 25th order that required nursing homes to accept coronavirus patients who are medically stable without testing them, claiming that the deaths were caused by infected staff members who spread the virus.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's something I don't even know how you argue that. Like,
how do you
say,
square
no,
that with
It
reality?
wasn't the infected elderly people I put in there. It was the staff. It had.
How could you? I mean, even then, even if that was the case, how do you possibly prove that? How do you? Maybe that's his whole goal. Like, you can't prove it was the infected people. It could have been infected staff. Maybe that's his whole defense. You know, deflection.
Released by New York State said that 80% of the 310 nursing homes in the state that took coronavirus patients already had cases before Cuomo issued his order.
Oh, I mean, so what?
So that's the report from it, and everyone's calling for further investigation.
Well, as they should. I mean, it'd be nice to have Cuomo investigated for something.
I mean,
I can't believe that guy wins elections.
His father have been just awful for the state for decades.
Mario?
Yeah.
Did you watch that funeral?
No.
Dude, I watched it on TV. It was years ago. But his wife had the gall to say, I think it was, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of, he's up in heaven telling God what to do now.
Wow, that's
the balls. That's akin to the Beatles saying we're bigger than Jesus.
I mean, I don't know. These people in power are fucking ridiculous on all sides and every.
And it's incestuous. Like I keep saying, look at Nancy Pelosi. She's been in a political family for 100 years, I'd say. I mean, you know, her dad Reagan called him out for being involved with the mafia up there in Baltimore. You know, called Nancy Pelosi evil.
You know, Kennedy was involved with the mafia, though, dude, and he's one of America's most beloved presidents. Kennedy
was involved with the mafia.
Kennedy got into power from the mafia, and then put Robert Kennedy as Attorney General, and was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna arrest everybody that put me into fucking power, man." That's when Robert Kennedy went after the mafia. All those guys are the ones that put him in power, and then he turned around and was going to arrest them all. I think that's partly what he was talking about when he said there's a conspiracy in this country and I'm going to expose it. I think part of what he was talking about was the mafia. It was still pretty prevalent, you know, in the 60s. The mafia was still way more fucking power than it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they still exist today, but they don't hold nearly the power.
Well, it's also the digital age, so I'm sure the mafia is not out, you know, putting glass in restaurant food to kill their enemies. They're probably just,
it's all it's all corporate now. Everything's
That's what I'm
corporate.
saying. Yeah, they're not gangsters anymore. They're businessmen.
Which
They're
speaking of
wearing suits
corporate
and ties. You know?
and Rochester, fucking good thing about Rochester, Kodak is coming back, dude. They got a
Kodak.
fucking yeah. We got what was it? I think it was a $300 million contract with the government to produce pharmaceuticals.
State or federal?
Federal aid.
Whoa, pharmaceuticals. You mean the film company Kodak?
Yep, they're done with
How does that work?
I don't know. They're switching over. I've been seeing. I got a few job offers from Kodak through like
same building up there, Eastman Park.
On. Well, yeah, they still have Eastman, and then they still have a bunch of buildings in Rochester. I'm sure they're gonna buy more, maybe even fucking build more. They got that huge contract. That huge contract.
That's good for the local economy.
It's to turn their facilities over into the proper facilities for what they need to do, though. Oh yeah, dude, they're gonna piggyback Rochester once again.
Yeah. Well, until they refuse to evolve, because that's what happened the first time, right? They didn't go digital. They stuck with film. And
it still owns stock in Kodak right now, because the stock's already started going up. I think it went up. I saw it go up like 11 points.
I know a guy.
It stopped the market, dude. It stopped the market 3 times.
Wow.
In a day.
That's good.
In a day, it stopped the market 3 times in a day. Never happened in history.
Wow. Yeah, I know a guy. I went to school with somebody, grew up with him. We were close friends, and his dad worked at Kodak his whole life. Worked there for like 40 years or something. And when they retired, I could be botching it, but from what I understand, my memory is that he actually got some stock from Kodak when you retire.
They used to give out stock to
so
all their employees.
I wonder how many of those people like didn't do anything with it. Were just like, whatever, leave it. And now all of a sudden they're making all this money.
People having old fucking Kodak stocks in like boxes and shit, and be like, it ain't worth nothing.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? You could have fucking. You're sitting on a gold mine now.
Oh man, yeah, that'd be something,
I
huh?
thought about applying up there. You know.
Yeah.
I thought about it. Fuck it.
Wouldn't be a terrible idea.
Drive forklift or something, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure they have. As if they're doing pharmaceuticals, I can only imagine the jobs they'd have. I mean, I don't know how that industry works. You know, I imagine it can't all be done by machines. You know.
Well, you need people to work on the machines, operate the machines. I'm sure you got quality control.
True. I mean, janitorial staff, they probably get paid. Those guys get money.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes, you know.
Being a janitor for something like that, I would imagine you get paid pretty fucking well.
And the spills and all that stuff.
I built a pharmaceutical warehouse out in Albany a few years ago. At least they say it was a pharmaceutical warehouse, dude. I built some fucking warehouses over the past like six years. I've been fucking.
What are they? A pharmaceutical warehouse? They just store pills, or do they store like the ingredients?
Not pills, injection drugs.
So like
antibiotics and like fucking vaccines and stuff like that. Yeah. Gotcha. So it's out in Albany. It's outside of Albany, and you go down this like half-mile road into a swamp, and this fucking building is on like an island in the middle of the swamp. You can't spill any gas or anything around the building. They got to call the fucking DC. It's all got to be. Dude, this job was insane. I had to go to 3 different meetings just to get on the job site. I had to have a pass who said who I was at all times. No smoking, no eating, no nothing like that. These walls, dude, the outside walls were like 2 feet thick. Poured slab that they brought in. They're like 45, 50 feet tall. Fucking
pre-made?
Yeah, pre-poured slab that they brought in on truck, and fucking would use a crane to lift up and then weld all these slabs together. Those were the outside walls. The inside had like 2 foot thick pads for floors. It was 2 decks, and then every wall inside had to be blast proof. So it was all lightweight 12-inch block, high density with
what are they preparing for? Like Ocean's 11? I mean,
poured solid with 10 bar. So for like those of you who don't know, that's rebar.
Yeah,
This fucking big around.
I'm aware.
16 foot long with like a 8 foot overlap. Fucking
Well,
dude,
I mean,
rebar was worse than the block, and that's every interior wall in this place. And then there's like little rooms where we were building and shit like that. Shit that just really didn't make sense for a warehouse, but it was fucking huge. The job itself paid fucking huge, just as one warehouse for storing these injection drugs for pharmaceuticals. So I'm thinking, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Kodak, but that.
well, I mean,
itself
that's exciting though. I mean, that could really change things up there. But as long as they keep the people who are in power now, I can't imagine they'll, even with all that money, I mean, what does it matter if it's all getting seized by the state in, you know, taxes?
Yeah, Cuomo said something about having to raise taxes to pay for unemployment and fucking like you got to be shit. Dude.
You know,
You
I'm
got
just gonna say this here in Tennessee.
Enough, man. My checks, like, so we stopped doing the federal. They stopped taking my federal out at my job because apparently it goes by company. Your company can opt to do it or not.
Yeah.
So they stopped doing it at my company, and it's made like no fucking difference at all. You know what I mean? Just by how
It's
much
only
New York
federal.
State taxes me, yeah, it just makes no difference at all. Like I could care less
Dude,
about my federal taxes.
Here in Tennessee, we have a huge surplus in our government and virtually no taxes. Property taxes are low. There's no income tax. Sales tax is half of what it is in New York.
Income
And
tax.
I don't understand like how
Income
how
tax,
it's so bad in these
I
places.
believe, was only ever implemented to help pay. Wasn't it to like help pay for
Highway, I
fucking
think.
world? I thought it was to help pay for like World War II or something like that.
Oh yeah, you're right. The tolls on the highway were for the throughway. Yeah, you're right. FDR started it.
Yeah, the income tax started to help pay for World War II, I believe.
Right. And it was
And
supposed to
then it's just
disappear.
one of those. It just never got. Yeah, it's one of those things that are just like, yeah, we'll keep it. It's helping out.
Well, I really think a lot of Americans are going to see a huge difference. Maybe not people in New York, but people all over the country that are no longer paying this unnecessary, illegal income tax. Will notice a difference. I mean, there's plenty of ways for government to make money. I mean, taxing our income is just wrong. I just can't. I just can't square it in my head, man.
Me to fucking work. Like I
That's
go swing a
insanity.
hammer all day for you to take part of that money that I just earned.
I mean, I have no problem paying taxes on, you know, when I purchase something. You know what I'm saying? If I go to the store and I buy something, I'll pay tax on that. I'm okay with that. You know? And if you would, and I mean, once you own a house, I don't feel like you should pay taxes on it anymore either. Once the property is yours, once you paid for it.
No, you're really paying the taxes on the land. The nicer the house, the more tax you got to pay on it. Fucking.
I mean, I understand the necessity of taxes, and you know, I agree that they're
That's
important.
all like a class thing, though. Paying higher taxes on better property is all. That's all like a class thing to ensure that certain people live in certain areas.
Right. I mean, it's social engineering. I mean,
that's like fucking Joe Schmo hammer swinger like me, or you know, fucking whatever. I can't just go buy a piece of property next to some fucking millionaire and just build a fucking shack.
Right. Although you should be able to.
It's all to ensure certain people live in certain areas. That's all.
But
it's a whole class thing.
I mean,
that's what all of this is. The whole thing in Rochester, those cops killing that dude, that's a fucking class thing. It's all based on class. Like the whole no shoes, no shirt, no service. That's a fucking class thing, man. That goes back to the 60s. That's hippies out of the store. It's got nothing to do with hygiene and health. I mean,
but there's no actual law that says you can't go into a store barefoot or shirtless. So I mean, that's company policy,
dude. Yeah, but it stems back to the 60s to keep hippies out of the store, and it's one of those things that just kind of stuck, you know?
You know what though? I may sound like a asshole here, but I kind of appreciate the fact that when I walk through Food Lion, there's not dirty, smelly, shirtless, footless hippies walking around everywhere.
I mean,
Maybe not just hippies, people in general. And I'm not talking about. I mean, I'm not talking like homeless people. I don't want to see them go hungry, but you know, if they got money, I appreciate it. You know, I mean, you can call me whatever you want. I get what you're saying about class, but
shoes and shirt in the restaurant. Okay, I get it. Body hair and shit like that, you know.
well, I mean,
Fucking
sweat and
shoes,
odor too.
grocery store, you know, fresh produce again, body hair and shit like that. I get whatever. Odor shouldn't be a problem. People should just like that's a hygiene thing, you know. Just wash yourself.
But you can't
But
mandate that. I understand that, but I'm just saying it's something that bothers me. So I mean, I get what you're saying. It goes back to classism and trying to keep a certain group of people out of your establishment. But
when down in Myrtle Beach, dude, there's a ton of places. Yeah, I was right on the beach too, but there was a ton of places. No shoes, no shirt. I don't give a fuck, dude. I'd go in the fucking gas station, grab a
beach
pack of
town.
smoke, buy a fucking beer, dude, and no shoes, no shirt, and keep on trucking,
And
dude.
you know
And
what?
it doesn't bother anybody. The only time I did have, I was in.
If I was at the beach, it wouldn't bother me. Like if I was in a beach town just hanging out, yeah, I mean, there's gonna be people walking around. It's a beach town. That's a whole different situation. You know, I mean,
I was at a biker bar with my shirt off, and this fucking this Health Angels old lady said something to me about it. She was like, "Yeah, you should put a shirt on." Blah, blah, blah. I was like, "All right, you know, whatever." And fucking
just
I think
put a
it's
shirt on.
you know, yeah,
Right.
just put a shirt on, you know, whatever. Still didn't have to wear shoes though if I didn't want to wear fucking shoes.
Well, so what? I mean, I don't mind that. That's a bar, you know. People don't go there for the cleanliness of the atmosphere. I mean, not a biker bar anyway.
I don't like wearing shoes. I don't give a fuck what bar it is, you know. But like I said, it's all a class thing, dude. Everything's a class thing. It's to keep poor people poor, rich people rich.
Well, I mean, but let's not dive down that rabbit hole because I believe there's endless opportunity in this country for. No, I'm not saying some people are in real bad situations and they can't just claw out of them. I get that, but for the majority of people who are, poor, if you will, there's endless opportunities for people to advance themselves, in their life. And if they can't achieve it in their life, they can at least set it up so their children can achieve it. There's ways to advance your social situation in this country.
Yes and no. I mean, there's ways, but they don't.
Well, that's what I said. Yes and no.
They don't teach you these ways, like in school.
Right.
Like I don't really remember learning too much about. Like I remember learning a quick little bullshit class on budgeting my money and taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, pig they called it.
They're taking facts class out of school. Like, how do you
Facts
take that?
class?
Yeah, that teaches kids like that don't know how to fucking learn how to do that shit or won't learn how to do that shit. Basic cooking skills, how to fucking sew a hole in your clothes, like stupid little shit
Survival.
like that. But that's a life lesson thing, man. You can't take away facts class. I mean, a lot of people saw it as bullshit, and I fucked around in facts class a lot, but that's because I can fucking sew my own clothes.
I understand.
You know what I mean? I can sew holes in my clothes. I can fucking cook.
I can too. I took those classes. And I can understand the importance of history and English and all that stuff. It's very important to be able to read and write and to be knowledgeable of your heritage and your history and all of that. But I feel if there was more of a focus on shop classes, like you're saying, facts classes, even auto classes where you learn how to change a tire, that's much more beneficial to young minds.
Well, can't even change a tire. Like, are you fucking shitting me?
That's a big problem, man.
I check their oil. I don't know where their coolant or their fucking windshield wiper fluid goes.
And I get it. Not everybody's an engine guy, but those are pictures on a cap. Is all you need to know where your coolant is. It's
more people know about the Kardashians than they do fucking basic math.
You know what though? I'm gonna stand up real quick for Kim Kardashian because she used her platform quite well. She did, and I gotta say this every time somebody talks crap about her because I hated her. I don't like her. I don't like her. I mean, I've never met her, but I don't like her show. I don't like her brand, all that. But when she went to the White House with that Alice Johnson, and she was instrumental in criminal reform bill that Donald Trump helped get through Congress and then signed. she actually used her platform quite well and for a greater good. You know, maybe there's more
I don't
to.
understand
Yeah.
how. I don't know. I don't see her having the intelligence. Maybe she like used
I'm
money.
not saying she's smart. I'm not saying
Maybe
she's this
she used
brilliant
money
person, or
to
I'm not saying
contribute.
she's dumb.
What else did she contribute besides money? I mean, I don't know her to say she's stupid, but
I don't know. I just that one little detail. I look at the rest of her and I don't like it. I don't like her brand. I don't want to silence her. I don't think she's terrible, whatever. But anyway, you're right. Getting back to the point, more people do know more about reality shows
yeah, they
than
know
they
more
do
about
about
Kardashian
basic
than they do
history.
about fucking basic math or basic history or anything. Like if I asked a random person on the street, well, how did income tax start? They wouldn't be able to just tell you, oh, it was
You
to
know
help
what?
pay for World War II, blah blah blah. And
You know what a big
fucking
one is? Is this whole unprecedented talk. Like you hear in the news all the time, like when the National Guard went to Kenosha and other places, they're like, this is unprecedented. This has never happened before. And I'm like, you could look back to Shays' Rebellion with George Washington and even the Whiskey Rebellion when they used force to quell these rebellions. They brought the army in. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's okay. But you just hear all the time this unprecedented. It's unprecedented. And that's people don't know. They're not smart enough to say, well, wait a minute, that there are precedents for that. Is it right? Probably not. But there are precedents.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, if you look, I say all the time that America right now is basically ancient Rome in the end of ancient Rome's era.
There are many similarities.
And compare, the Senate was split in half. You had the Caesar in the middle, and fucking the Caesar didn't really hold power. The Senate held most of the fucking power, and they argued with the Caesar all the time, and he argued with, and then, like that's our Congress, man. That's our Congress and our president. And exactly right now, fucking there was lead in the water, dude. People were going fucking insane.
But a big difference is too.
Water, dude, that fucking dumbs everybody down and makes them fucking docile and stupid. And it fucking probably does make people go insane. Who's to fucking say, man?
I don't know. I mean, I hear a lot about it.
But they use lead piping in Rome, and it made people go insane. That's why you have a lot of the rulers in Rome. Like in Game of Thrones, they had the whole like incest thing, and like everybody's fucking all those fucking the whole line of the Targaryens became insane through incest and all. It was like he used ancient Rome as an example for that, or he took that from ancient Rome, I should say.
I got to admit, I've never actually watched that show.
A lot of the Kaisars and shit, the Caesars, they were fucking insane because there's lead in the water, and it's just fucking. They got.
Well, I mean, when everybody's insane, are you actually insane?
Well, no, it wasn't everybody. Not everybody got lead poisoning. It was a lot of the upper class got the lead poisoning.
Because they're the ones who had running water. Yeah.
Right. So the emperor, especially, he's constant running water. Obviously, fucking guy's got whatever he wants. So I mean, it's a lot like that now, dude. And people are like, I bring that up to people sometimes, and they're like, you know what?
It is scary.
That's a really good example of what the fuck is going on right now. It's crazy. I don't
think, in the words of Abraham Lincoln, that the union is going to dissolve. I don't think that it's going to have the same result.
I think that.
I don't think we're going to be separated into warring factions. You know what I'm saying?
I was listening to Brett Weinstein the other day, and he was talking about how like he doesn't see an ending to this that doesn't result in some sort of civil war. Which
that's dire.
I mean, that is an extreme end of things for sure. But
we've already had a civil war. That doesn't mean it's the end. One side will win, and it's
it won't be an end. Everything will continue to go on. I mean. But
and I highly doubt you'll have an armed conflict among the states in today's age. I just do not see that only because of the mass travel.
You got people
back when the first Civil War happened,
fucking umbrellas and leaf blowers to fucking riots, man. What do you mean you won't see armed conflict? That's just a start. You got people. There was a shootout in.
What I'm talking about is two standing armies.
Fucking gunfight in the streets of Wisconsin, like. Kenosha, Wisconsin. Where the fuck is Kenosha, Wisconsin?
It's 13 miles from the border of Illinois, I guess.
Yeah. All right, dude, you got a shootout in the fucking streets of Wisconsin like it's a wild, wild west. Some fucking
Well, hold
17-year-old
on,
kid
James.
and
You have
fucking
shootouts.
rioters and fucking
You've had shootouts in Chicago since the 1930s. In New York City, in LA, there's been shootouts. I mean,
yeah, but not
in
like that, dude.
Cleveland in the 70s. I mean,
And televised, the kid's got a fucking AR-15. The other kid's got illegal handguns. So fucking
and as a child molester, the one who got shot in the head, right?
shots in the streets, back and forth. Fucking, I don't
You
know.
know,
One of the ones that he shot had fucking a rape charge on him for like a 14-year-old girl or something like that. I was reading and fucking it's fucking insane all around that it's even.
No, you know, I'm torn
Those
on
are
this whole
civilians
thing,
fighting
man.
Civilians, man. Those are civilians fighting civilians. That's not even,
but they're not fighting on behalf of an organized, army or seditious government. They're just out there, and because of our freedom, because we have the Second Amendment, guns are so readily available. You get into heated situations like that. That can't happen.
You have all these groups of people right now that are just arguing amongst each other, and none of them really fucking have any real leadership. The Republicans are all kind of split. The Democrats are split. Fucking Black Lives Matter. I couldn't tell you who their leader was. Who is that? It's
George
definitely
Soros.
not. Definitely not a fucking whoever it is. It's definitely not a Martin Luther King type figure,
No.
You got everybody else arguing about what's right, what's this, what's that, and everything's, in my opinion, is super fucking extreme right now. COVID-19, everybody's been sitting home. They're just watching more and more. The media's been putting out more and more because they have to.
Well, the demand is higher.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, to keep up with the demand. So it's everything is just going fucking insane. It's imploding. Never did I ever think I would see riots in the streets of fucking Rochester.
I want to say this too, because I think a lot of it, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen or that it's not serious, but I think a lot of it is overblown, because I was at a bar downtown Nashville when the George Floyd riots, quote unquote riots, were happening. I was at a bar. I'm not going to mention the bar, but I was there. They were violating the rules. We weren't wearing masks, all that crap. We didn't care. But, and then these people were marching and it was peaceful and the cops were following on. There were lights everywhere. And then 10 minutes after they passed by the bar, granted, it was a big line, but I'm getting messages about SWAT team, like news flashes and things like that, and all these people getting arrested. And I'm looking out and there they are. And no, there's no SWAT team. There's no helicopters. There's no violence. There's no gunshots. But all I'm seeing on social media, and I'm getting these little news flashes talking about all this crazy stuff happening. I'm literally there. And there's nothing going on.
I was my buddy out in Oregon, man. Fucking, he told me a little bit about he was driving through Portland when the riots started, and he told me it was fucking insane.
Well, yeah, I mean, Portland is the real deal, but that's a liberal Nazi stronghold up there,
Oh yeah, dude. There's been fucking neo-Nazi problems in Portland and all along the coast there in Oregon for years, dude, decades.
Yeah, and they all support Democrats. They all support liberals because they want the government to have that control. I mean, look at Black Lives Matter. They're actually out there proposing segregation among the races. That's a thing they want.
There's so many extremists out there right now, dude. It's fucking.
How is that progress? How does that get us anywhere? How does that solve any of the problems in our nation?
But then you have, like, I would say Kyle Rittenhouse on the opposite end would be a right-wing extremist of that same example. Like, you can't be out here playing vigilante either, dude.
Right, and he was 17, and he shouldn't have been there with the rifle in the first place.
Yeah,
but given in his situation, like I would have defended myself too.
Groups out here are the reason that they're the reason why things are going the way they're going. There is going to be more government control, and there is going to be more fucking national.
They're ushering it in. And these riots, these groups, these attacks. I call them attacks on our American cities. They're ushering in martial law control.
I mean, what's interesting to see is that the consensus around a lot of the riots and protests and whatever you want to call it is a lot of people are saying the police fucking started them. I mean, from what I'm seeing from last night in Rochester is that the police just started arresting people that were protesting. They marched on City Hall. They fucking screamed their demands. They went to continue to march, and they weren't doing anything violent or anything like that. And then fucking police start fucking trying to arrest everybody, telling them to disperse.
And I don't dispute that.
We're not doing anything wrong. And a protest isn't the government says, okay, you can go protest here for this long, and then you have to leave. That's not a fucking protest.
That's not what our rights are. We have the right to peacefully assemble anywhere.
People saying stuff like that. That's what you have to do to protest.
When you say right wing, you got to be careful. Just like when people say left wing. You're not talking about the Republican Party as a whole or everybody who may identify as Republican or liberal Democrat.
That better. I'm seeing a lot of conservative news networks putting it as this is how you should protest, and there's no. I mean, there are guidelines on that. Obviously,
peaceful,
there's a line.
That's the only guideline.
Protest and a riot, yeah. But if you look back through history, like when they marched on Martin Luther King marched on the White House. Like that wasn't the government said you can fucking come and march and do all this and these are your guidelines and you can be here from this time to that time and then you have to leave and if you don't leave you'll be arrested. And that's not how a protest works. We're protesting because we're angry. We're protesting because what you're doing isn't fucking right.
We're exercising our right.
We're inconveniencing you on purpose because we want to be heard. We want our message to get across. That's a fucking protest, man.
That's a protest.
For them to just start arresting people is fucking, it's unconstitutional is what it is.
It is absolutely unconstitutional. I mean, it is. The rioting is also, highly illegal and shouldn't be condoned. And I agree with sending in the National Guard when these cities are burning. This has been precedented too. Look at Rodney King. The LA riots.
You had the LA riots. You had, the little Korean shop owners up on top of their buildings with fucking automatic weapons defending their businesses and shit. I mean,
we're seeing that again today.
There's video of all that shit. You go up online and look at fucking Rodney King riots, man.
When Martin Luther King was shot, I mean, there were quite a few riots.
So that's all precedented. The government knows how to handle that shit properly. I mean, the people they're only gonna act how they want to act unless they're organized and led.
Right.
But the government, they have policies, they have rules, they have regulations, they have procedures. They know exactly how to handle this shit, and they're not fucking handling it the right way. Portland's a good example of that. I've seen some crazy fucking videos coming out of Portland with fucking
it's the government there, and that's their approach to it is to do nothing.
Chaz in Seattle.
That was outrageous. That was an infiltration, an invasion.
They made their own country, dude.
And then nobody got arrested. Nobody got. I was livid. I thought for sure the FBI would arrest
journalists, dude. They shot people. They were beating up anybody that wanted to record.
Yeah. It was East and West Germany. It was insane.
Yeah, I can't believe that even happened in American history.
And it was allowed to happen. I mean,
2020, dude.
It was allowed to happen. It's not that it happened. I mean, it was look at the same. They tried the same thing in Asheville. And the Asheville.
He's from the Union, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know how many city blocks. Like that's ridiculous. Did you if I told you that last year that would happen, you'd fucking laugh at me.
I'd laugh at you. I'd be like, no way. That could not happen.
Well, yeah, they're gonna secede, all right.
It's mind-blowing. It's so confusing, and it's like one crisis, one big event right after the other. It's a tactic. I believe it is. They're trying to either divert our attention from something bigger or what, because you can't wrap your head around the last disaster before the next one strikes.
The way they're handling everything is insane. Like even the coronavirus in the prisons and shit. Like I talked to somebody that I know in jail, and he was telling me it's fucking insane. They just don't give a shit, dude. People got coronavirus. There's like all sorts of confirmed cases, And
prison?
Fucking yeah, and yeah, and the
Well, I mean, they're
yeah.
already overpopulated. How do you what are you supposed to do?
Well, they were letting people go at one point, but I mean, and then they're separating. How do you social distance and wear masks? And you know,
Your
you do all
cellmate?
that in a jail and shit like that.
I don't know. I mean, this whole coronavirus pandemic thing drives me up a wall.
He was telling me conditions in there for the coronavirus they're fucking insane, and they're trying to write letters and get it out there, and it's just not happening. But
it's like my third cigarette in an hour. Smoking too much.
Yeah. Hang on. Can we pause this video?
Yeah. You want me to pause the recording?
Yeah, just pause it real quick. Fucking take a piss, dude.
I don't know if I can pause it. I have to stop it.
All right. Well, I'll fucking edit this a little bit out later. Quick intermission.
All right. I got to piss too. All right. I have returned.
All right. What are we talking about? Oh, things being precedented. All right. We are back.
We are back.
Yeah, things. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, these things they have been precedented. The government knows what to do, man. And it's just what I found is interesting that I've really loved about all this going on is I've seen, and that's how I even started doing this. Is just I started this quite a while ago, like figuring out what I want to do with this. But I've seen a lot of different people just out taking video and fucking reporting on things and just talking about it on the internet. And really, I think it's modern day journalism, like investigative journalism, real journalism. Like we were talking about before, you don't see, like, I haven't seen one interview, like Fox News anchor or whatever, out talking to a doctor at a hospital, you know what I mean? Or a nurse at a hospital. Fucking
other than big names.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that. I would go to a local hospital somewhere and just talk to a few doctors that have been dealing with this. Go to like hotspots. Go to LA. Go to New York City. Go to where, Florida would be another one. Fucking go to the hotspots and talk to these doctors and fucking see what's really going on. Because there's been so much controversy over, the hydroxychloroquine and how that's helps people, in beginning stages of coronavirus. And there's so much going back and forth on what people are saying. This is what really. Russia's already put out a vaccine.
Yeah, and Putin said his daughter took it. But I mean, man, I'm convinced we'll never know the truth about this coronavirus. And if we do, it'll be 50 years in the future.
Oh, well, Russia.
These numbers are changing.
They probably just said fuck human testing.
Well, he gave it to his daughter. I don't know how many daughters the guy has.
Yeah, well, fucking enough he could spare one, apparently, in Russia. That's how they do shit. It's like, oh, one of them dies, who cares,
Yeah, I got 8 more.
Yeah, fucking, we're testing this now. Give it to the whole population.
I'd hate to be a Russian.
Kill 2% of them, big fucking deal.
Yeah, big deal.
We saved the 98 other percent,
I don't think I'd ever take a coronavirus vaccine.
I haven't gotten it. I don't know. My buddy's mom got it. Well, she tested positive, got no symptoms for it, and then they were saying it was false positive. So,
how often does that happen, I wonder?
Yeah, I know. Did that go into the statistics? Was it removed from the statistics?
I heard, and I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that the CDC corrected some kind of numbers where only 6% of the people that actually died from COVID died only with COVID. You know, like I guess the other four had some kind of condition, whether it be a heart condition or
There should be people out here talking, talking to local doctors and shit like that. I would like you said you tried getting fucking interviews. You got that? Did you ever get the one?
no, honestly, I didn't have time to call the guy back. He wanted me to call him back at 3, and I was at work.
Yeah. See, I've been trying to get some. I haven't gotten anybody to answer me, but
I called 3 offices. 2 of them, I didn't even get past the receptionist or whatever you'd call him. And the third guy said he would talk to me, but I had to call him Friday at 3 o'clock, and I was at work Friday at 3 o'clock. Didn't have time to, but
yeah, I'm gonna fucking keep making some calls and see if I can talk to somebody because that would
seems like
be
a lot of people are pretty reluctant.
ideal. I don't know why. It's weird.
Maybe as time goes on, they'll
You see
loosen up.
lots of interviews with local cops about the whole fucking everything that's going on. You see lots of interviews like that, so I don't understand
Yeah.
why you
Well,
can't get a doctor to talk about a global pandemic.
well, the
affecting
news feeds.
everybody, right? It's affecting every single person, probably planet wide, with what's going
Really?
on with state regulated laws and medical procedures, and so
The news
people's health
feeds
in
on the
general.
hysteria, man. So if they get out there and they talk to real doctors and real patients and they find out that this thing isn't what they've been hyping it up to be, all of these major network news sites, stations, whatever, all of them, if it comes out that this whole thing was way overblown, it's them with egg on their face. So they don't want that to be the case. They want
it
people
can't
to
come
keep
out.
tuning
It can't
in.
come out as overblown. It'll fucking look real stupid. That'd be huge.
And
People
it would
flip
be a
out.
huge
There's people who have lost their jobs. People have lost their homes.
lost their businesses.
Yeah. If that comes out, though, they think people are rioting now.
I mean, even sports.
Everyone
Even
will be rioting
sports.
at that point,
Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. We're all adults. If we want to go pack in an NFL stadium, well, I mean, wear a mask, or if the stadium wants to limit how many people, that's fine. I mean,
So,
I guess the NFL season is starting, but
yeah. I mean, it's all voluntary. You don't. They're not forcing you to go to a football game. If you want to stay home, stay home.
right, and watch it on TV.
I mean, I guess it would be getting people to work, but I'm sure you can find enough people that would want to actually work.
Right. I mean, there's plenty of people, because there are plenty of people that need money, and that's not going to be the issue. And I'm really excited.
I couldn't collect unemployment, so I've been working through this whole fucking thing this whole time.
Me too. And my career, my job has just been, it's been crazy busy. Like I work in sanitation. I repair equipment, cleaning equipment. People go in and clean restaurants and hotels and stuff with doctors' offices. So my business has been through the roof right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm working 60 hours a week, and I'm not bragging. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I got lucky in that.
Construction's back. It's not back like that. It's not. I mean, I'm getting fucking 50-hour weeks and shit, but
that's pretty good in a pandemic.
Yeah, and still, it's not. I'm not laying block either, though. I'm fucking laying pipe and digging and shit like that, grading for fucking sidewalks and shit. But like, I couldn't find nothing laying block, dude.
Well, there's probably not a lot of people, building buildings and houses and stuff, because they don't know what the future holds.
I wasn't looking. I won't ever go back residential anyway, unless I'm helping a buddy out or something. But commercial's way better. It's the way to be. Too. It definitely pays better, and I don't have to deal with a homeowner or nothing like that. I just deal with a foreman. I can fucking smoke cigarettes and swear and have my radio and
freedom.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. I mean, you got to wear a hard hat, but big deal, small price to pay.
I mean, that's a good thing.
That freedom,
I mean, a hard hat. That's not.
I'm working on the same job for months. I'm not going to a new house every 3 fucking days.
Right.
It makes it
really. That's where I'm at now. I go to my shop and I'm just there every day, same place. They come to me. It's
not back. I've been wanting to talk to a couple construction. I'm in this international basically Society of Masons or something like that on Facebook. And so there's business owners from all over the country. There's some Europeans, there's some African Masons and shit in there. So I was going to talk to some. Yeah, I was going to talk to some of them about. I was going to talk to some of them about how it's all been affecting their business and everything like that, because it's slow around here. You know, everybody I've talked to.
It's not everywhere. Like, I mean, I see those guys out working all the time. There's new houses still coming up here in Nashville. The mayor, try hard as he might, he can't shut us down. They keep making all these mandates and rules, and just nobody follows them. Everybody keeps going to work. Everybody keeps building anyway. They don't care.
Well, it's like that. That's just like that guy. What was he? I think he was in New York City. There's that dude who took the doors off his gym. They came and they were going to chain his doors up because he said, "I'm not closing." And he took the doors off his gym, and they arrested him for it. He's still just
taking the doors off of his gym. Isn't that insane? You're getting arrested for operating your business, but you don't get arrested for burning one down.
It's crazy right now, dude.
It makes it clear on the intentions of those in power. I mean, and it's not pretty.
It's yeah, I don't know. The only
saving grace we have is NFL's coming back, so I can watch my Jags go 3-13.
I haven't really been following football and sports and everything like that.
Oh, man, I can't help it. I've been trying my best, praying every day that NFL actually happens. I don't care about the kneeling. I just don't care. I just want to watch football. You know, I've watched it every day of my life, every football season, every Sunday.
It's not going to be just watching football. You know, it's not just going to be watching football. It hasn't been just watching football since fucking Kaepernick, probably.
Right. Since, 2015 or 16 or something.
Yeah, football has definitely changed, and fucking more and more rules, and now you watch a penalty every other fucking play, dude. I don't know that shit. Fucking boring, man.
I haven't given up yet. I haven't given up hope yet. You know me, I'm forever the optimist.
It's I don't know. Something's got to change, dude. I don't agree with left, right, any of it. It's got to be.
I thought myself much more on the right side of the spectrum, but you're right. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a Republican, but it's hard, man.
I would like to see individuals with their own thoughts and ideas.
What do you think about this Jo Jorgensen?
She's still with the libertarians and has the libertarian. I mean, and it's all right, I guess.
I'm not really sold on her. I read her party platform.
A lot of people aren't sold on her. That's why the libertarians are not doing nearly as good as they did last election.
No, and that's basically because a lot of people are either sold on Trump or sold on Biden, and either they hate Trump or they love Trump, and that's the only thing driving this election.
Really sold on Trump or Biden. I think they're just saying we're gonna pick Trump because Biden's a fucking
dementia patient,
weirdo who doesn't know where he is, or they're saying we're gonna pick Biden because Trump's a fucking misogynistic pig
and he's a man bad.
So it's not, nobody's picking anybody based on political stance, really.
Well, I mean,
political stance, I definitely don't agree with Biden. Based on their policies, I would more agree with fucking what Trump's. I like what he did with China and
standing up to him.
Yeah, I like
Middle Eastern peace deals.
He's been stealing our business for years. I still think Trump's an idiot, though. He's doing a lot of his shit for show. He went back on like a ton of his policies and shit. Hillary's not in prison. There's no fucking border wall.
Did you know? I mean, there is border wall, by the way. There's like 350 miles of it built that wasn't there before. That's a real thing that happened all along Arizona. It's hard to build a wall because there's a lot of property owners. There's a lot of red tape to cut through, and Trump was a little ambitious.
Pressure in NAFTA. I like him, what he did with pharmaceuticals and what he's trying to do. Yeah, what he's trying to do with insulin to make it affordable for.
He did that. That's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that went through. Okay, yeah. So what he did with that to make, that definitely happened. He made insulin affordable for
$35 a month on average.
Yep, diabetics everywhere, which is awesome. That was
Yeah.
a humongous problem before. Insulin was so expensive, dude. My grandmother was on insulin for years. It fucking cost a fortune.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I understand. I respect pharmaceutical companies that come out with new cures and things like that. That's phenomenal. But this whole racket they have, where like that EpiPen thing, and like it costs you what, $5 to make this, but you're charging people $500 for it. It just
they just do it's everything's for money, man. It's like a huge corporation.
Well, you can still make money and not be greedy, right? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can still make money.
They're going after a lot of the Silicon Valley companies right now, claiming they have monopolies over the internet and internet business and stuff. Yeah, so they're going after them. But I'd like to see them do that with other corporations like Walmart, because Walmart found a loophole. Companies like that, not just Walmart. I hate Walmart. That's why I'm saying that so much.
I don't shop there.
Companies like Walmart, like, they need to go after them, because what they did is found a loophole in the monopoly. They're like, well, we don't own all the businesses, but what they do, you push everybody else out so that you're the only one there. And then you do own all the business. So there's only one or two other big corporations competing with you, and you guys can just kind of set price. That's a monopoly.
Yeah, it's exactly a monopoly. But what do you do about it? Do you force them to break up?
Yeah, fucking just Teddy Roosevelt did it when he said you can't own all the oil, douchebag. You can't own all the oil, you can't own all the power, you can't do that. So Teddy Roosevelt did it. I think somebody should do that now and say no more chains like that. No more.
You can't say no more chains. I mean, but
limit it. That's all you can really.
You could say that you can't have. I mean, I could understand if they went out and said, look, you can have all the chains you want, but you can't have a Walmart within 5 miles of each other. Every 5 miles, there can't be a Walmart, because because you can afford to build that many doesn't mean your competition can, and I would support something like that.
They would definitely have to talk about it and figure out the best way to go about it to be fair to the people, fair to the government, and fair to the business.
Yeah, but because right now, I mean, they're not being fair.
Something like that is going to affect taxes, but it's also going to be able to create more business owners and create that opportunity for everybody, like we were talking about earlier. A lot of the problem with poor people being poor and owning businesses is, how do you compete?
And these companies, they come by with these big checks that's life-changing money for these people, and they just sell out. And what do you expect them to do?
Yeah, they want the money. They need the money. They say, well, I can't compete with you, so I'll just sell you my idea. And then they own it, and they're bigger and bigger. Amazon does that.
Yeah.
They buy it. Amazon, Apple, Google. Part of the reason they're going after them is they just buy everybody's ideas from them and get one big payout. You get one big payout, or you get like a royalty. But they still own everything.
And they could. I mean, even if I don't know, that's something that people smarter than me got to figure out.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I don't know the first fucking thing about that. I couldn't help.
I'm young as fuck too, so I got a lot left to learn, but I definitely have ideas I think could fucking help. Like limiting corporations like that would definitely help. And a lot of people argue the whole federal control, state control, even if just states did it, even if just all 50 states did it, you know what I mean? Instead of the government doing it, the federal. A lot of people argue the whole control aspect of it. Well, you can't let them control it like they can. But like I just said, it's like Teddy Roosevelt, you know,
It's
swinging
not
his
about
big.
government
It's
control.
like
I mean, it's about
it's like
government leveling the playing field for everybody,
it's about
which arguably is one
doing
of their
what's fair.
functions.
There's an injustice happening in our free market, and it's the government's job to kind of help regulate that and make it fair for everyone. So
Yeah.
it's really something that they would have, you know, a control over. Teddy Roosevelt swinging his big stick, man. They need to come in there. They
Like I
need to
said, you
bust
don't
it up.
need to assume control. You just set
No, they
new
need to
rules.
make it fair for everybody.
Yeah.
Business is included, you know. You can't just make it fair for the employee and the people. You have to make it fair for the business as well.
All right, because everyone needs to operate, and there's nothing wrong with making millions of dollars.
Not doing something like that will also help a lot of fucking political corruption from corporations too.
A lot of like big donations and insiders.
I think lobbyists should be eliminated anyway.
Well, lobbying's not a terrible thing. The problem with lobbying, like you say, it is that it's all money. You know, I mean, these lobbyists aren't actually people who believe in anything. They're paid to believe in something and to go lobby for something. You know, I mean, you can't outlaw lobbying because that's how people bring their addresses to their representatives, to their government. You know,
I don't know. My problem with it is like, so I was with the fucking local 3 here in Rochester, Bricklayers Union, for a little while, and part of my apprenticeship through that, I had to go to the meetings. So I'd go to these meetings, and I think I went to a handful of them. And the beginning of every meeting, they just shove political nonsense just down your fucking throat, dude. Like the one meeting, they basically told me and everybody else in the meeting, like, don't vote for Donald Trump. You know, like they're trying to tell me who to vote for.
yeah,
It's all like super left wing shit, and it's because
that's where the money is.
Yeah, that's who the union. And it's the unions are. It's insane for that. Like I don't care about any of that. I'm not here for that.
Me.
Like I care about the government and what goes on in the government, but I don't want that in my workplace.
Right.
The only way I want that to affect my job is through the economy. Other than that, I don't want you to be told who to vote for, what policies should be set, and this and that.
I don't think unions should be donating to candidates, period. You know, because
I don't think so either.
These guys, they get in power and they favor the unions over Joe Schmo from down the road, you know, and they get all these union contracts when all these other people who may be more skilled, more suited for that job aren't getting the work because they have contracts with the union.
You know, I'll probably ruin my chances of ever going back to the union by saying this, but I don't give a fuck. But they used to have a little secret back deal. They had this like little club inside the union that would meet up after work sometimes or after the meetings, and they would just talk about specifically how they were going to break down non-union companies, how they were going to steal these jobs.
We were just talking about monopolies.
They were going to steal these guys. They did that to my company I was working for. I was working for this company, Lane Block. And they come in, they took about 10 of us. The union come and fucking called all of us, was like, come work for us, benefits, blah, blah, blah. You won't have to pay your way in. We'll hook you up, get you working right away, this much money, your future, your future, your future. And then we get there and we're treated like fucking scabs by all the union guys, you know, thinking we're there to steal their hours, steal their money. And it's a fucking crazy mentality.
Organized labor is also
but they
a big
would,
problem.
Dude, they took a whole crew. They took a whole A-team from the owner of the company I was working for. They took a whole fucking bomb-ass crew.
Well, that falls on the employees, too. They left.
Well, yeah. Fucking when you're offered a 401k with full medical and making $30 an hour, and, you know, 8 hours, anything after 8 hours is overtime. Anytime you work a Saturday or Sunday, it doesn't matter if you work 0 hours during the week, automatic overtime. They can't tell me I gotta go. Like they can't tell me, hey, go over there and lay that fucking block in 2 feet of water. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like union
Look, the
contracts.
unions aren't all bad. If it
That
wasn't
shit,
for unions, we
it
wouldn't
was,
have weekends.
I like it, but I don't. I fucking think it needs to be just like everything else. It needs to be reformed. A
Yeah.
civil war would be
Deeply.
crazy. That would open so many people's eyes, dude. Like the Kenosha shootings and shit like that. That opened a lot of people's eyes to how crazy the world could be. Could you imagine a civil war? Even just 2 weeks of total anarchy. Could you imagine just 2 weeks of all the dark shit you've seen in life? I've seen some really dark
I've
shit.
seen my fair share.
You know, I remember fucking dude, that fucking kid pulled a gun out on our buddy and fucking he just snatched out his hand. Fucking if that thing was loaded, he'd have fucking blow that kid's brains all over the side.
That one dude in Portland got shot just for being a Trump supporter.
Dude, people have been waking up to like how fucking crazy the world can really be. Could you imagine just 2 weeks of total anarchy everywhere in the United States? Just 2 weeks of it.
That'd be the end. I mean, there'd be no recovering from that.
We'd recover from it, but so many people would be pushed out of their bubble.
Yeah.
There would be,
Society's not there to protect them.
Where do you go? Where do you go when there's no safe places and you have to see that shit and deal with it?
Yeah. Where do you go?
Some people are forced to deal with it anyway. That's what I was talking about with whole class things, the whole class thing earlier. Poor people, the less educated, the less fortunate. That's where you see all this violence.
Yeah.
Drugs. Fucking.
Well, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. It's an age-old saying, but it holds true.
Oh yeah, any sort of class system that's been so what's the words I'm looking for here?
I'm not sure.
Well distinguished, I guess you could say, between poor, middle class, and rich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's a clear difference.
Yeah. So any sort of fucking society that's been like that throughout history anywhere has led to the poor people always revolt.
Yeah.
And depending on how bad it gets for the middle class, they might join in too. They always revolt. Look at the French Revolution. They dragged King Louis through the streets and fucking
cut off his head.
His whole family, guillotined him. Mussolini, after World War II, he got dragged through the streets by a crowd of people, man. And it starts with education. If you go back and look at the Board of Education, like Rockefeller and guys like that, all had a hand in creating it,
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
there's definitely been conspiracies in this country for a long fucking time.
It's not a conspiracy if it's true.
Well, it is a conspiracy because they're conspired.
I should say it's not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it's not a theory if it's true. That's for sure.
Right.
It's just a conspiracy. Fucking like the whole Epstein thing. That's how I got started on all this, man. Was the whole Epstein killing himself.
Thing. I can't believe how quiet people have been about that. I saw a video on Parler of a group of people that stormed the CNN building in Hollywood, in LA, that area.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that video? And we're like, save the children, save the children. Yeah.
They stormed the CNN building and were fucking demanding that they report on it.
Yeah, because they're not.
Yeah, they demanded that they stop ignoring it.
A lot of people aren't reporting it. I mean, I see reports all the time. Those kids in Georgia, Minnesota, Utah, all these places where these 30, 40, 50 kids are sprung, reunited with their families. It's a miracle, and you don't hear about it. That should be. How is that not one of the biggest stories of our generation?
a lot of that shit I haven't heard about, but a lot of the Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein stuff, I've seen Crystal and Cigar reporting on. Nexus on YouTube, they do a huge thing. There was like a 40-minute episode I watched that had one of his former bosses on it who got arrested for a Ponzi scheme that Epstein was involved in back in the 90s. And like Epstein's name was just stricken from everything. And like he just fucking, the dude wasn't allowed to testify against Epstein or anything like that. And he got sent to prison for like 17 years or something like that. And Epstein just walked free. And this dude was talking about how he witnessed Jeffrey Epstein working with an Israeli handler from the Mossad.
So he's an Israeli agent. Or are they just somehow involved? If you say an agent, a handler, are you speaking like from the government or like just an Israeli guy?
He's an Israeli. He's a handler from the Mossad, like a CIA would have a handler, like a CIA agent would have a handler, or an informant for the CIA would have a handler. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you look, and then, dude, it's fucking crazy because Harvey Weinstein and Jeff Epstein, which nobody talks about this, those two had a relationship, and Jeff Epstein actually kicked Harvey Weinstein. This is a story I read. He kicked Harvey Weinstein out of a party for being too rough to one of his girls. Now, if you've read all the stories and the fucking the victim statements against Jeff Epstein, from fucking what is too rough at that point? Like what the
where do you draw the line?
Yeah, where do you draw the line? You're fucking throwing this guy out of your party. What the fuck is he doing, man? He was fucking pulling out razor blades and lemon juice or what? Like it's
my God.
Insane. Fucking insane. So, but if you look at Harvey Weinstein, when Ronan Farrow was investigating him, Harvey Weinstein hired ex-Mossad agents, who's to say who they really are, but he fucking hired ex-Mossad agents to try and silence the victims from talking to Ronan Farrow.
And, I remember, and he had like, what was it? One of the news networks refused to publish it, so he did it himself, right?
Yeah, Ronan
which one
Farrow,
was it? I forget which one it was.
I forget who he worked for, but one of the networks refused to publish it, so he just did it. And Ronan Farrow, his investigative journalism basically took down fucking Harvey Weinstein and put him in prison.
I mean, but who else? Who knows what else it opened up?
There was a chick there. I think it was. I don't know if this is right, but there was the chick who worked for CNBC who she was talking about how she had the whole Epstein story way before it happened, and they wouldn't let her run it. They got her on camera, like on a hot mic. They got her on a hot mic, being like, "I had the whole fucking story," and they wouldn't let me run it, and she was fucking pissed, dude.
I believe it. Corruption runs deep.
Yeah, so Harvey Weinstein hired these ex-Mossad agents to try and silence his victims. Now, Jeffrey Epstein had dealings with the former prime minister of Israel. As a prime minister there for a brief while, and there's actually a photo of this guy outside of Epstein's apartment wearing a fucking scarf, trying to hide his face. He goes into Epstein's apartment. He's there. He doesn't come back out. And supposedly there was some young-looking women that had been, or young girls that had been walked into the house like a couple hours after he was photographed outside of his apartment in Manhattan, in New York. Former Prime Minister of Israel. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell, her father.
And that's hard to square.
Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeff Epstein had been to Israel. He donated to Israel. Ghislaine Maxwell's father, he was Jewish, obviously. Harvey Weinstein, Jewish. Ghislaine Maxwell's father had a he had dealings with Israel, and it was a conspiracy theory way before anything about Epstein came out that he had worked with the Mossad and was actually killed. Because when he died, he fell off his yacht in the ocean.
I remember that vaguely, but yeah.
Yeah, he fell off his yacht in the ocean, and right after he died, it was discovered that he embezzled all this money from the pension fund, the company he had, basically to keep the company going. And fucking thousands of people were out of a pension. Like only ever half of it ever got repaid.
Mm.
And so that was her father, and he had dealings with Israel. He escaped some sort of, I don't remember which one it was. It's been a while since I looked through all that. Some sort of Nazi occupied country in World War II. He had escaped.
Ghislaine Maxwell's father did?
Yeah, and fled to England because he was Jewish. So like a lot of this ties back to Israel, and from a lot of people believe that it's actually a honeypot scheme set up by Israel to where Jeff Epstein would take all these famous people, politicians, important people, and they'd go to his island, do shit they're not supposed to do, whether it's fucking touch little kids or do drugs or whatever, do shit they're not supposed to do, film them without their knowledge, and then later on be like, okay, blackmail them and just use that blackmail to influence them to do whatever he wants. And in this case, it would
be to keep him quiet.
It would be to further the goals of Israel.
I wonder what those are.
Yeah, there's a huge thing with Prince Andrew that's tied into it.
Oh God, I've heard so much about his involvement.
Yeah,
that is all over the place.
Yeah, and there's from what I've seen, he's really he is definitely a co-conspirator. He's up there with Epstein and Ghislaine, I think.
I've often wondered how much power do those people actually have? Like the Queen of England, the prince, the princesses, duchesses. Like what? Like they have like a representative government over there, don't they? Like parliament. So what exactly power could Prince Andrew have? Is it just like sway, influence, or do they actually have like legislative power? Can they pass laws? Can they do things like that? I don't know. I've never known. I never understood that, what their role was. Are they just figureheads or are they actual authority figures?
So the royal family is basically just, they don't control anything in government. I don't think. It's all parliament. And the royal family hasn't controlled anything in government in a long time, I don't think. I think they can make like royal, I'm not sure how it works, honestly, but I was just looking up.
It'd be interesting to know because if Prince Andrew is so involved, what power does he have? What benefit was he to this whole ring?
Jimmy Savile, dubbed by The Guardian. I don't know if you ever read The Guardian.
Oh, I've read The Guardian. Not a huge fan.
I like some of their shit. I've seen a lot of Epstein and other shit from The Guardian that's been pretty accurate. But yeah, Jimmy Savile, known by The Guardian as Britain's most notorious pedophile. When he died in 2011, it came out he had like all these sexual abuse scandals. He was knighted in 1990.
Who is this?
Like Jimmy Savile.
Jimmy Savile. I don't think I'm familiar with that name.
He's in English media. He's like an actor. He did a show. And there's a lot of conspiracy that from way before Epstein too. Conspiracy about pedophile rings in the English royal family.
Oh man,
like
I'm sure.
And shit like that. And the whole Princess Diana thing is tied into it. I've read about, and I was reading some fucking interesting shit on it. I think I took some pictures. I gotta sort all my information out a little better, but yeah, there's a whole thing with Princess Diana being tied into it, and that's why she was actually killed It goes fucking really deep, dude.
I've heard plenty of conspiracy theories about Princess Diana's death and how it went down, and I mean, it's suspicious just like anything else, and like, when you consider all these other variables, it's almost impossible not to come to some kind of conclusion that there was some kind of fuckery going on there. I mean, such a freak accident like that happening to royalty just doesn't seem likely.
Oh yeah, for sure. A fucking paparazzi.
Right. It's very confusing, and I don't have the ability to get down to the bottom of it because I only have what's presented to me.
No, there's tons of stuff you can use online to look up stuff like that, though. Like there was I actually heard about, what was the dude's name here? Lawrence E. King Jr., Omaha, Nebraska. It's called the Franklin Credit Union scandal.
Okay.
And you can look up articles from this. I think it was like 86, 87. This dude was arrested. He had like a $16,200 salary, but he drove a $70,000 Mercedes and spent $10,000 a month in limos. He gets arrested for this Ponzi scheme. He's throwing parties for Democrats, Republicans. He gets arrested for this Ponzi scheme, similar to Jeffrey Epstein. So what Epstein was doing is like Lex Wessner or Wegner, whatever the fuck his name is. He would have him and people like him investigate or invest, or fucking he would take control of their finances, and he would just like skim off their top of their finances. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he had total control of their finances. So who's going to notice a few million here, a few million there? That's why I specifically said I'll only take you if like you have like $1 billion or more or something like that.
So he gets scammed without you, it being so obvious.
Right. Yeah, the dude's a mathematical genius as far as I've read. He graduated high school at 16, and then he went to college for like 2 years, ended up dropping out of college. He went to college for mathematics and physics, I think, or something like that. And dropped out of college after like 2 years. He just becomes a math teacher somehow in New York City. And then through one of his students' fathers, ends up working for Berenstein, and that's where he starts his whole Ponzi scheme deal. So this dude's doing the same thing. He's getting people to put their money in his bank, and he's just skimming off the top of all their money. He gets arrested for it. There's over half a dozen sexual allegations against him involving kids being auctioned like slaves, because this guy was involved in some sort of
kids being auctioned,
some sort of orphanage. He was involved in some sort of charity. There allegations were that he was kids were being flown to New York City, DC, and LA for wild sex parties.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Edward Zirinsky, former Nebraska governor, quoted King as a young man of integrity and one who has rendered great service to the total community, according to the Washington Post article from 1990. Fucking guy.
Wow.
There was
wow.
One of so in Nebraska, the age of consent was 16. And these are said to be underage kids when this happens. So these kids are, 15 or younger.
Or younger. I mean.
Yeah. So they polygraphed one of them 4 different times. And every single time it came back that she was telling the truth. And she was one that said that she had been like flown to a party in DC with all these rich people and powerful people there. And fucking, she'd even seen someone get murdered. Got polygraphed 4 times, came back, she was telling the truth every single time. And I'm pretty sure polygraphs are admissible in court.
Not sure how that works.
But the FBI said, at this point, I'm satisfied there is no substance to the allegations as far as federal criminal statutes go. and fucking just dropped that portion of it. The guy got arrested for the Ponzi scheme, but nothing ever came of the sexual allegations. There's a dude who wrote a book on it. Fucking, it's just called the Franklin Credit Union scandal.
I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on that, and we'll talk about it next time because I don't know. I haven't heard anything about this. It sounds pretty deep though, and it may, like you said, it may even lead into. I mean, who knows how involved these people are?
It looks and sounds a lot like Jeff Epstein before Jeff Epstein.
Like he was the original Jeffrey Epstein.
Maybe, or maybe there's just a bunch of them. You know, they're going to all these crazy fucking parties.
You know,
they're being flown all around the United States. They're partying in Hollywood. They're partying in New York City.
I can't understand how this.
They're partying in DC. The politicians.
I just can't understand how this is so blatantly obvious yet unchecked. Like how does
nobody talks about it, man? Nobody reports on it. Anybody who does,
it's a running joke in Hollywood for the last 30 years. I mean, you remember Mel Gibson when granted the guy went a little crazy, but when you consider what he was talking about, you consider what drove him crazy. And he realized, what did he say once? He said that Hollywood is built on the blood of children. And this is back before anybody was talking about it, you know, nationally on like a real noticeable scale. And they crucified him. No joke. And no pun intended. They crucified this guy. They destroyed him. They exposed every last bit of negative detail they can about him. I mean, yeah. Jim Kravinsky, whatever that guy's name was.
The Passion of the Mel. Yeah, fucking Corey Feldman's talked about it for a long time.
And Rose McGowan. They kept her after Charmed. She never got another gig because she's, granted, I think she is kind of crazy. But once again, you drive back to what made her crazy, what she's been speaking about, what people laughed at her for.
Proven that she was a liar.
Who did?
Alyssa Milano.
Oh God, that chick.
The chick, she played like Phoebe in Charmed, I think.
Yeah. She is out of her mind. I'm not sure what Alyssa Milano's talking about these days. I mean, she just seems angry and bitter. I'm not sure why. What does she honestly have to be angry and bitter
about? Jarvis, dude. Ricky Jarvis. Did you see his act at the Golden? What was it, the Grammys or the Golden Globes or whatever the fuck it is?
Oh, I missed it.
Oh, dude, he hosted it and it was hilarious, dude. He said he made a joke about DiCaprio. He said by the time he leaves at night, his date's too old for him. And he makes another joke that fucking he says something about how Jeff Epstein didn't kill himself, and the crowd was kind of like, and he's like, I know, he was your friend. You had to fly your own planes here. Fucking oh yeah, dude. Then he was talking about how
going in.
Yeah, he's talking about Ronan Farrow and Weinstein, and he's like, Ronan Farrow's coming for you. He's coming for all of you. And fucking dude, he goes.
They were probably stunned.
Oh yeah, there's some fucking footage of Tom Hanks making some fucking weird faces and some other celebrities.
I keep hearing about Tom Hanks. Man, how true is that?
I don't know. His Instagram's really fucking weird, and the whole thing with Grease is really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There was that woman that claimed that her father sold her to Tom Hanks when she was a child.
Oh man.
And Tom Hanks kept her prisoner for years.
I mean, I've heard so many
all over Twitter.
It's terrible, man. But you know, I've heard so many big names, and it breaks my heart, man.
You should go look at.
I'm like, all these kids, Twitter, all this time, and I'm buying these movies and making these people rich, and on the backside, they're using my money to rape children. I just feel terrible. But what can I do? Just live without entertainment? This has just got to be crushed. This whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, what do you? Yeah, I can't. Entertainment kind of sucks. I play fucking video games because I don't know.
Man, I've got a 1-year-old. He keeps me pretty busy.
PlayStation, they could fucking come from Japan. I don't know. people got to report on it. People got to fucking believe in it
What about?
to begin
I've
with.
heard a name floated around in this whole child molester thing, and I really am. But what about Robert Downey Jr.?
He's on Epstein's flight list. He's on his legit flight list.
You know, I'm also a little skeptical about that whole flight list thing. Not that I'm trying to diminish the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was a serial pedophile and most of the people associated with him need to burn in hell. But, like, just because you flew on the guy's plane, I mean, from what I understand, he did a lot more.
He liked to party, dude, back in the day.
That's what I'm saying.
Robert Downey Jr. did drugs for a long time. He was out of movies for a long time. He got sober and he came back and fucking blew up with Iron Man. And he's been good ever since. But, yeah, that's what I'm saying earlier. That's why with the whole honeypot thing, whether they went there and they touched kids or they were fucking smoking crack, you know, whatever they were fucking doing was wrong. Who's to say? I think everybody on the flight list needs to be fucking interviewed, you know. Everybody on the flight list.
Not just interviewed. I'm talking a thorough investigation.
Oh, yeah, dude. Fucking, you got to follow money in this fucking case.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was cash, it's a little hard to follow, but.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't think it would be because the people we're talking about, the cash that they would be transferring wouldn't just be like a $500 or something. It's going to be $500,000. There's going to be big monetary transactions, and I can't imagine you would do that in cash.
Epstein was taking like $8,000 a week or some shit out of his fucking account for tips.
Tips. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, granted, you're rich, but that's a. Who are you tipping, dude?
Right.
Like,
I mean,
seriously?
Just hire somebody to do all of this stuff for $8,000 a week.
Yeah, who the fuck are you tipping? I mean, what? It's really weird, and there's a whole thing. That's why there's an investigation being done into the bank. That lady whose husband and her kid got killed, and her husband got shot, and injured. That Judge Salas, one of her cases was looking into Jeffrey Epstein was looking into Dershowitz's bank for all sorts of weird money transactions for Jeffrey Epstein's account, and like they knew he was a pedophile after 2008 or 2009 whenever he was arrested. They knew he was a pedophile. They still, you know, dealt with him. They kind of just looked the other way. So there's a big investigation being done with that. She was the judge overseeing that. I mean, and then it came out with this whole other crazy case about another dude that she had a case with that was unhappy with some of her decisions on like feminist, you know, women's rights type stuff. It was just really weird.
Sounds like there's roots running in all kinds of directions there.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing to follow. It's hard to say, but she is definitely the judge, or at least was. I don't know if she is anymore. Overseeing the Dershowitz banking for Epstein.
Huh.
I mean, you got to follow the money. You got to investigate all these people that are on the fucking flight log.
Every one of them.
Bill Clinton's on the flight log 26 times.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy about that, and why he claims it was only 4. You listen to him speak, he'll say I was only on it 4 times. But how does that make it any better? Whether you're on the plane 26 times or 4 times?
He claims he's never been to the island. He was on the plane, but he's never been to the island. And then there's 2 witnesses putting him on the island. One of the victims claims she saw him on the island, and former gardener for Jeffrey Epstein claims to have witnessed fucking Bill Clinton on the island. I mean, there's no sexual allegations against Clinton. There was, in some of the latest shit that's been released, pictures from Ghislaine Maxwell of one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims giving Bill Clinton the back rub. Yeah. Giving Bill Clinton the back rub fucking on their trip to Africa with
Let's take a quick pause. I got to run inside and pee. I will be right back.
All right, dude.
All right. Hey.
All right. Where were we?
We were talking about actors and their
Epstein.
involvement. Yeah.
Yeah, so nobody talks about it though. That's why fucking
It's not. I mean, everybody knows about it now, though.
kinda. I've seen idiots say that Jeff Epstein killed himself. They're like, nope, he killed himself. There's no grand conspiracy. He was in charge of it all. Like if you watch the Netflix documentary, it just kind of paints a picture for the victims and makes Jeffrey Epstein the ringleader, and points Ghislaine Maxwell as like a little bit of a co-conspirator. And they briefly mention Prince Andrew. It's
Trying
not,
to hush it out.
Yeah, it's not. They don't talk about what it was. They don't talk about anything I just said.
Or the guests or the powers that were involved.
Involving
Didn't he have a
Israel
picture of Bill Clinton in a blue dress hanging in the mansion on the island?
Blue or red, but yeah.
Like, I believe he had a portrait of the guy, like a picture he took. Looking it up. All right, no problem. But I mean, I've seen other pictures. Of course, nowadays you never know what's real and what's fake. I see so many pictures up there. I see so many pictures of Trump in them, and yeah, see, that's what I had thought. And that right there's enough blackmail right there, because the whole Monica Lewinsky thing with the blue dress, I think that whole thing was like a joke to it, a nod, you know?
Yep, I think it's definitely fucking weird, man. Why do you have a picture of a former president in a dress pointing his finger? You know what I mean?
It's strange. It doesn't seem like, I can't imagine George Bush or Barack Obama posing for a picture in a dress, or Trump for that matter, posing in a picture in a dress.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Clinton liked to party, but I like to party, and I've never posed for a picture in a fucking dress, man. I like to party.
I like to party myself, and I've never been so gone. I mean, I've been pretty gone, but I've never, like you're saying, that's not the kind of parties I attended. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that really breaks it down to, if you look at the way our government works today, and the forces that are actively against this stuff, you have to figure that it's more than just Hollywood. It goes into the actual government structure, the agencies, the people in charge there.
Yeah.
It's not just high-named actors.
Weinstein was one of the most powerful people in fucking Hollywood, dude.
Yeah, you don't get that powerful.
Huge.
You don't get that powerful. You don't become that influential without
so many stars.
He also silenced a bunch too.
Yeah, he did. He fucking ruined a lot of people's careers as well. I didn't follow Weinstein as closely as I followed Epstein, but you can find a lot more on Weinstein than you can Epstein. It just
it kind of very public figure.
Weinstein with him, but how is he's hiring ex-Mossad agents? You know what I mean? Where do you get those contacts from?
Right, you have to. I mean, it has to be deep. I mean, it has to be. I mean, I don't even understand what I mean by that, because I don't even know where to begin. Like, I could never call a Mossad agent to come handle me.
You look it up on the dark web or something and pay him fucking millions, or what? Hundreds of thousands.
I don't know. I couldn't even fathom it. Like, I don't understand how those connections are made, because I'm not a politician. I'm not a big Hollywood elite. I'm not a CEO. So I don't even know. I don't even understand how you get there. Like, that's what needs to be exposed. Like you always say, follow the money.
Yeah.
We have to expose where this power is coming from.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, that's a fucking. If you watch the video of the Senate committee that questioned the warden of the prison Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in. Senator, what's his name? Chelsea? Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, the one senator starts grilling this woman. And he's he's asking her, well, if you can't tell me about this case, I know there's 3 active investigations going on with Jeffrey Epstein right now involving this. He said, could you please elaborate on the other 2 cases? And and she's just giving him a runaround. And finally he goes, so how big of a problem is sleeping on the job in our correctional facilities? Just grilling this woman, man. And I think it was a senator from South Carolina or Georgia. It's one of the Southern senators. Looks at her and he goes, Christmas lights, drywall, and Jerry Epstein. One of these things doesn't hang themselves. He's like, that's what the American people believe. The American people want the truth. They grilled this woman hard. And she, the one senator is basically saying how she was only put in power and she was only in that meeting because her former boss was fired for incompetence.
Doesn't seem like she did much better.
She didn't know anything, really. That's the guy that knew everything, is the fucking guy they fired for incompetence, and they fire him. They bring this fucking lady in, and they're questioning a woman who barely, if she knows anything, she's giving him the runaround. The lady looks scared half to death. She's white as a ghost. The whole Senate hearing, the whole video. It was right on I don't know. It was right on YouTube. I saw it. But fucking, it's insane. The kind of shit that's going on. And then Ghislaine Maxwell, they got her on suicide watch. They gave her a whole year to go to trial.
How does that even happen? Did they just want to push it off until after the election? Perhaps?
Well, before the whole coronavirus thing, they gave her a whole year to go to trial. And she was trying to silence all these papers, and she couldn't. What she was trying to silence is information that should have been released from the Florida prosecution in 2008, where Jeffrey Epstein got all co-conspirators immunity for. And immunity, he worked it in there for immunity for any charge at all in the state of Florida. So what she's being tried on is charges from New York, and which is why she's in Manhattan jail. And they gave her a whole year to go to trial before.
I don't even see how they can justify that. Man. I don't know how it works necessarily with such a high-profile case, but it seems odd to me.
They just found her in some weird house in Jersey. She used her little nickname for G-Max. And she had her cell phone wrapped in tinfoil.
I heard about that.
Yeah, trying to evade. You could look at. I saw a video of Snowden on Joe Rogan's show. That
I watched that one. I saw that
one. He was talking about putting tinfoil over your cell phone, doing things like that to evade authorities if they're really looking for you like that. But they found her right in Jersey. Like, why are you still here?
Why are you in the United States?
Yeah, she went off to a bunch of other places and then ends up going to supposedly, and then ends up going to Jersey and getting caught, and right in Jersey at some house. And the realtor, when they question the realtor, they say a man and a woman went there. They identified the woman as Ghislaine Maxwell, but they can't identify the man. Went there to get the house, and they gave the realtor fake names. The man had a British accent. And supposedly Ghislaine Maxwell is married, but she won't reveal who her husband is.
How is that? Is that not something you can just find out?
I would imagine you could. I don't see why.
There's got to be like a record if she's legally married.
If she's got married in England, maybe it's a record we'd have to request from them that they don't have to divulge.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
So she won't reveal who her husband is, though, or who this man that went and
Does she
helped fuck.
acknowledge there's a man there and just refuse to identify him, or is she trying to say
No,
there was
he
no
wasn't
man?
there when she was arrested. He was there when they bought the house from the realtor, though. They bought it through like an LLC.
Okay, so they tried to keep it all on the low.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mhm.
It's really strange shit. Really strange shit.
I'm not.
She's the
I
first
don't. I've
person who
never
has
had.
gotten to meet with her attorneys in that jail since coronavirus. And there's people that have been like, I've been waiting to see my attorney for, like 7-8 months. But she's the first person.
It's
her
a pretty
attorney,
high-profile case, though.
just the other day. But I mean, yeah, but it's still she got to meet with her attorney in person. Her attorney and a woman, which I imagine to be his paralegal or something. Excuse me, but his paralegal or something like that. Went and visited her for 6 hours. Talk about her case. There's still supposed to be more information coming out from these documents from the Florida case. The judge basically, all the judges that ruled on it, the judge said that she has to release it because it's information that should have been released. Her lawyers argued that it would impact her ability to receive a fair trial, and the charges she's facing now, because it'll be media scrutinized.
Oh, so she's protected from media scrutiny?
Yeah, so it's because it's so high profile, it'll be media scrutinized. It'll affect her chances of having a fair trial. And that's their argument.
A jury, I guess.
They appealed it, and the appeals court basically said, no, this already should have been released. It doesn't matter. You have to release this. So her attorneys are putting all this information together to hand over to the judge. They got a deadline for it. It's all going to be released. I mean, a good portion of it's been released, but not all of it has come through yet. So I've been watching for it. I haven't seen anything yet.
Keep an eye out too.
Yeah, definitely. Like Crystal and Cigar, like I said, are big on reporting that stuff first. I see. Honestly, the Guardian reports a lot of that real quick too.
Okay.
Yeah, I read a lot of interesting stuff on the Guardian.
Yeah, the Guardian, I haven't read too much of it. I mean, I don't really hate him or dislike him. Not a normal publication I reach for first. I'm a big fan of the Epoch Times. Have you ever heard of Epoch Times? Epoch Times? No. I'm actually a big fan of them. They report on a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff you don't hear about in the mainstream media, if you will.
So, well, that's the whole problem. Is the media really just do what they want? They just stopped reporting. I was watching Anchorman 2 the other night, and they're making all sorts of jokes about like how they were just going to report bullshit instead of actual news. Like the one joke is just fucking. It's just Will Ferrell, like reporting on a fucking following a car chase for like an hour or something, like an hour and a half or something like that. And there's a huge joke about it, and all the other anchors are all pissed off. They're like, "This isn't even real news. Like, what the fuck?" And it's funny because it's funny because it's true.
It's very true. It's a true representation.
Yeah, and man, there's no real. I mean, there is real media and real journalism. It's shit like this and shit. People who are there, firsthand experience.
Yeah, they're just conglomerates. Is why there's no good media out there. I mean, CNN and Fox, and they own all the local stations. So there's really there's no real local reporting. It's all just a national syndicate.
Well, there's more and more local reporting. Like, I mean, if they march in Rochester tonight, I'm probably gonna go.
Yeah, that ought to be good. I mean, hopefully you're safe.
Go, Oh yeah, well, I don't fucking care about it. I'll be fine.
Well, you know, like I said, man, I was down there in Nashville when supposedly the riots happened, and it was such. I was so disgusted with the
Oh,
reporting on it.
I've been a victim of police brutality before myself, so fucking nothing
Well, I've
crazy.
never gotten anything I didn't deserve.
I've definitely gotten roughed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't say that. Though. A lot of that shit was like when I was a fucking teenager, you know? I'm a
Yeah.
teenager getting roughed up by the fucking cops.
Small town Orleans County Sheriffs
Yeah,
or Holly Police.
yeah, bashing my fucking head off the fucking hood of the car. It's fucking get the fuck
I've
out
never
of
had that
here.
happen to me. I had a
That,
gun pointed
that
at me
definitely
once.
happened to me.
I
Yeah, I've had
had
that happen
right
a couple
there by
times.
you remember right there, well, what's it called now? Crosby's. It used to be K and Holly. I
Yeah.
was sitting there with lunchbox in my truck, and I had a shotgun in the back seat. It wasn't loaded or anything. I just had it in the back seat, you know. And
Yeah.
I get pulled over because it's like 3 a.m. They pull me over, and the guy's like, "Oh, you have a gun in the back." So my dumb ass, being 18 years old, reaches behind me to pull it up in the front seat. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, it's right here. Dude pulls out his gun so quick, and he's like, "Just don't touch it, don't move, just don't touch it, don't touch it." I was like, "Holy okay, that was a mistake." Put my
Jesus
hands
Christ.
up. Yeah, I reached for it. What an idiot, man. Oh.
You should have
And then
had
they
a
had to
fucking
remove it. They had to they messed with it. They had to run to see if it was stolen. It wasn't stolen. Which yeah,
you
man,
like
I
the
did.
gun, you should see the fucking kilos in the wheel well, you know.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Yeah, that cop. That's the only time I've ever actually had a gun pointed at me, and you know it was terrifying, man. I ain't gonna lie. You see videos of these people with cops pointing guns at them, and they're like walking to their car, or they're just walking
Yeah.
away or walking toward them, and I'm like, what the hell, man?
You know, my grandfather
Obviously,
got
that
pulled
doesn't
over
happen
for
every
like
time.
speeding one time. He got pulled over for fucking speeding. I'm sitting in the back seat. And the cop's like coming up to the car and he's talking to my grandfather, his hand on his gun. Like, or he's like, what, you know, is that really necessary? What are you, a cowboy? The fucking. it's
They're a little trigger
police
happy.
brutality, yeah, police brutality and corruption in police departments is definitely a real fucking thing.
Yeah, yeah, it
You remember
is.
Officer Moreno,
Yeah, I do.
the sheriff? So fucking hated that little prick, man. And he got caught just a few years ago. He was double dipping. He was working for his. He got a job as a security guard. He would go and punch in as a sheriff, and then he would, instead of running his route and shit like that, he
He
would
would go to
fucking
work.
he would go to work as a security guard, and then punch out of there, and then go punch out of being a sheriff. And he was working fucking as a security guard, collecting a sheriff, you know, the sheriff department's
Getting
paycheck
paid both.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And him and another guy got arrested for it. I think it was like him and his boss both got arrested for it. And
Damn.
there's allegations against him too, a bunch of allegations against him for him trying to
All time corruption right there, man.
solicit sexual favors from women instead of arresting them. I heard a bunch of stories about that.
I've heard that. I have. I never knew how true it was, but I've heard it.
I've heard a bunch of stories about cops and that. Buffalo, it's legal. They're making it legal.
I heard that they proposed it, but I don't know if they actually
posted. They're trying to make sexual favors legal. Fucking yeah.
I mean, that's sexism,
fucking,
right? Because I, as a dude,
you
can't.
just gotta suck a dick to do it. You know.
Oh God, you know, give me the ticket.
Yeah, you want to smoke crack on the corner? Go ahead, just suck a dick.
Oh, come on, crackheads would be the ones who would do it too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Cops know that. Fucking, there was that one Buffalo cop that just pushed that old dude over.
I saw that video. That was Frank.
Then they all resigned.
Yeah.
Right after that.
Man, I understand the necessity of police, but man, there's some fucked up shit going on.
We're in a police state, man. We're monitored constantly.
I can't disagree with that.
You know, Edward Snowden just, you know, what he did, telling you the NSA spies on you through your cell phones and shit.
Yeah,
Fucking, you're
I
spying
never
on
doubted that.
constantly under surveillance.
I never doubted that.
There's people on watch lists. I mean, it's true now. You can just look it up and see it.
Yeah.
But that was under the Obama administration.
Oh yeah,
Obama,
Lois Lerner.
yeah.
There's all kinds of
Obama labeled him as a
conspiracies.
terrorist. He's really not a. He's not a terrorist. He's not a traitor. The government was doing something wrong, and he fucking exposed it. It's unconstitutional.
Yeah, I heard a while ago Trump was mulling a pardon for him, but I don't know if it went anywhere.
I saw some shit and seen some little clips of Trump talking about it. He was back and forth. He basically said he didn't really know much about it. He was going to look more into it, but he wouldn't be opposed into pardoning Snowden. He wanted to look into it more and see if he was really a traitor. He's called him a traitor. He's gone back and forth on it. Like
he wasn't a big Snowden fan when he was running for president. I know that.
Yeah, he's gone back and forth on it. Like he fucking does a lot of shit. So I can't fucking.
Well, that's one of the reasons I kind of like Trump is he's not an idealist. You know, he takes each scenario with each bit of new information and his ideas, his revolt.
I just want to see a person just that says fuck the party systems, fuck all this, and just this is what I think. And this
I would argue that
I
would argue that Trump is somewhat an embodiment of that, where a lot of times that he does buck the party.
Yeah, I would just want to see a fucking honest American do it though.
Well, you'd have what?
Honest American just step up and say, "This is what I think." And this is what I'm going to run on. This is my beliefs. And
I would argue that Trump is that guy. Yeah, but
he ran on the Republican ticket. He made sure it's still a party thing.
It's still a party thing.
A lot of shit, and a lot of shit he says is fucking dumb.
Like any other president. I mean, granted, the guy does speak tongue in cheek quite a bit, and puts his foot in his mouth sometimes.
Yeah, that's if you listen to anybody that comes from that time, man, a lot of them talk like Trump.
Yeah.
A lot of them, they reinforce their ideas by saying them over and over again. And, this is the best. It's big. It's fine. A lot of those guys talk like that. Even just common. Well, yeah, he is a salesman. He has to pitch things. Definitely, everything he does is a pitch.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is just that age. Like, if you look, I mean, even the people I know that are that age, they talk like that for the most part.
Yeah, they tend to be pretty blunt, pretty.
Yeah, it's
unashamed.
It's a culture thing. It's from their time. It's how they talked and how they were raised.
And I don't really see a problem with it because you could sit there and you don't know his heart. You can sit there and twist his words all you want.
That's why a lot of people find it annoying, though. I think is because it's a lot of the people paying attention now are a lot of younger people. Where in past generations, it's been the old people go and vote. The old people make the decisions, and the old people are watching everything. And it's not like that anymore. I see kids like 15, 16 throwing political ideas out there and hopping on bandwagons and this belief and that belief, which isn't a bad thing. But I think a lot of the misguidance in media and a lot of the favoritism and then the bias shit, I think is definitely bad for that. A lot of these kids get brainwashed. Yeah. I mean, I've seen college professors. I've seen what they put out there to write papers on, and a lot of it is shit. Like
it's not just college professors, man. It goes all the way down to first grade.
I saw a college professor. He's an English professor. Put a paper on, gun laws and this and that with Trump and everything else. And I'm like, this isn't a fucking political science class, dude. This is English. Like, you should be writing about.
Even if it was, man, it's
and fucking. You know what I mean? Stuff like
yeah, I get your point. I mean, it's not only that.
This isn't political science, and I get you could use it as an example, but like everything this guy put out was political, and it's
He wasn't a
fucking
teacher
crazy.
anymore.
Yeah,
He was an
well,
activist.
yeah, a lot of these teachers aren't really teachers anymore. My grandmother was a teacher, and I remember going to school with her. She didn't fucking push her political ideals. She was
If
a
you're
history
any
teacher.
good, a half good teacher, your students will never know which way you vote.
Yeah, so she was a history teacher, and she did exactly that. She just taught history, and what they teach you in the history books, and what they don't teach you in the history books.
Yeah,
You know?
it's taught history.
Yeah, and there's like I've been looking into that a lot lately because I kind of want to go back to school. But like, where do you learn when everything is fake? You know, like you just, how do you go?
How do you trust it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you gotta. So you're saying I gotta go and get a certificate from this fake institution, and then learn everything on my own, basically, and go through all of this bullshit.
Oh, in massive debt doing it.
Yeah, just to get ahead. I mean, I could keep swinging a fucking hammer and be broken.
It's a catch-22, man.
By the time I'm 50, and
Yeah.
hopefully at that point I'm sitting on my ass pointing fingers, telling guys what to do.
Well, work hard enough.
Or I could go fucking I could go do something. It really fucking pays, and this is gonna break me. I mean, construction pays good, but it's gonna fucking break me. It breaks everything.
Pays good, but
it's not worth it.
You can only do it for so long. I mean, your body gives out on you.
So many guys just fucking go back to school, dude. Just fuck that. This shit. I mean, I like building shit. I love building shit, but
you could do it. You don't have to work for somebody to build shit. You know?
Oh no, it's fucking. That's why I think it's important. Like going back to education. I think it's important that everybody learns something like that in school. You know,
basic woodworking skills, basic stuff.
Yeah, you still, not that it sounds sexist or anything like that, but you still teach women, teach everybody how to fucking sew and fucking cook and fucking teach them how to fucking fix little bullshit and fucking shop class, basic shit and whatever. Teach them how to fucking change. Oil.
I mean, I see people like throwing away vacuum cleaners because the plug missing the ground prong or something when it takes $2 and 5 minutes to replace that plug.
That's crazy.
It's so wasteful to me. It's so wasteful. I mean, it's a perfectly good piece of machinery. Yeah, you just throw it away and buy a new one. It's so wasteful.
Fucking
and it's only because of their ignorance.
It cheap, so you have to buy fucking 10 of them,
Yeah.
And make it cheap, so you got to buy 10 of them in a year. Fucking.
Hopefully that gets better. I don't even know where to begin.
It used to be TV repairman. You could just my
grandfather was a TV repairman.
You bought a TV to last you a lifetime. You call the repairman to come and fix it when it broke. You bought it. You had a TV and lasted you your whole life.
30 years.
That was the idea. That was the original idea behind vehicles too. You bought one vehicle per.
That was the original idea behind lamps. Behind tables. You bought something that was built to last. Yeah,
it's not built like that anymore. It just falls apart. Buying new shit all the time.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? I mean, well, what are you gonna do? Be the change you want to see, I guess.
It all starts with education, really. I think education and media are the two things that will bring about some sort of fucking change.
And one way or another,
Information is huge. Information is definitely.
We live in the information age.
Well, I'm gonna call it, buddy. Fun talking.
Oh, cool.
I think it's been like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna wait another 8 minutes and tell you 2.5 hours.
I just say it's been like 2.5 hours. So
you got a lot covered.
Do this again soon. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about some more next time. Fucking hopefully next time you can drive up.
Yeah, we just got to plan it out, and I got to figure it out.
Yeah. The whole Cuomo laws and whatnot, but I will catch you later.
All right, man.
All right, dude.
Later. Send me the final copy when you're done.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna edit it like tomorrow or Friday tomorrow.
All right, man.
All right. I'll catch you later.